everyone, welcome to another week of RTD Weekly Booster. Today we have two special guests with us, Timothy.
Hi, my name is Timothy. I'm from Anthony Law Corporation. I've been a lawyer for about 4 years now. Started my practice in private client, doing a lot of trust work, a lot of private client work, helping individuals from overseas come into Singapore, setting up their family offices. Then I realized a lot of them also have real estate as their main investment portfolio in Singapore, and then I made the switch to conveyancing, which is why I'm now with Anthony Law Corporation.
That's nice. Welcome, Timothy.
Thank you, Rex.
And beside us, we have very beautiful ladies with us today. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Serene from Anthony Law, one of the business development manager. So I've been in this conveyancing industry for about 13 years. I was actually a conveyancing secretary for about 6 years. So with my conveyancing secretary knowledge, I actually step up to be a business development because I think this can actually apply to help all of my clients as well as all the agents out there. So to manage the timeline and also to ensure they have a smooth transaction going along the way until completion.
So we have Serene here, which is a very experienced business development manager that we have worked throughout for many years. She is experienced in both HDB, private resales, and all legal matters. And often than not, we always consult her on to any legal issues we face. And recently we have interesting, of course, should we call it new measures coming out from the government side, IRAS, which is the ABSD on trust.
Yes.
Yeah, and we did consult Anthony's Law, we did talk to Serene, and we decided to bring this episode to you. And here with us today with Timothy and Serene, we're going to share in depth with you about trust on properties. So today we want to understand more about how trust works in property. Timothy, could you share a bit with us?
Sure. Trust has been a very, very popular method of purchasing properties recently.
Yes.
There's also been a lot of changes regarding trust, the new ABSD implementation. So what exactly is a trust? A trust is a legal arrangement, okay? It's not so much a formal structure, but it's more of a legal relationship between the trustee and the beneficiary.
Are they only just two groups? So we have the trustee, beneficiary. Any more parties that are involved?
There are usually three groups: the settlor, the trustee, and the beneficiaries.
So trust, beneficiary, settlor, and trustee.
Yes.
Okay.
But in property and in transactions regarding property in Singapore, is usually just the trustee and the beneficiary, because the trustee will assume both roles as the settlor and the trustee.
I see. Okay. Could you elaborate a bit more on the property context and how on day in and day out we are dealing with trust can help clients?
So in Singapore, most trust purchase is usually the parents purchasing properties for the benefit of the beneficiary, who is a minor child.
Alright.
So most of the time it's for their children under the age of 21.
Okay.
Okay. So by purchasing property using a trust structure, families can boost their property portfolio by adding one more property into their portfolio without incurring the additional buyer's stamp duty, because this property will belong to the child from the start.
But I do understand that was in the past, am I right?
Yes.
So what's the difference between past and now then?
Okay, in the past you could name a beneficiary or you could leave the beneficiary unnamed, okay?
This is something interesting and
Yes.
is not a common practice, am I right?
Not a common practice, not a common practice.
How previously can they name trustee without any beneficiary? Do you have any example?
So in the past, you could purchase a property in trust for a group of people, like all employees of Huttons, something like that.
Okay.
But now it's different. Now the beneficiary must be named, the beneficiary must be identifiable, and ABSD of 35% must be paid upfront.
Okay. Any other changes on top of these new implementations?
Not so much. It's mostly that the identity of the beneficiary must be identifiable, and that is the biggest change, and that the 35% must be paid upfront.
The second thing that I also understand is we cannot set any condition. Previously, was there any condition that we can set on trust?
Yes, so one of the conditions for you now to qualify for the remission is that the trust must be unconditional. So in the past, I've seen trusts with many specific conditions.
Example, you need to graduate from NUS.
Yes, things like that. Or even a very patriarchal family, very old-fashioned family.
You need to have a son in the family.
You need to be married to a man, you need to be married to a girl, things like that. So they don't leave space for alternative arrangements.
Alright.
But all these conditions now cannot be imposed.
Okay, so and the third thing, they cannot have a timeline. That means it cannot be like after,
21 years old.
21 years old. So that rights must be given to the beneficiary at immediate upon exercise. Am I
Yes,
right?
you are right to say that. So the beneficial right of the property must vest in the beneficiary at the start of the trust, at the inception of the trust. So at the very, very start.
So cannot be any timeline that's later than the start.
Yes, but the legal rights can be transferred after 21.
For those who are listening, might be a bit confused. So there are two types of rights. One
Yes.
type of right, which is the legal right. So a lot of people actually confuse with 21 years old legal rights and the beneficiary rights.
Yes.
Is that the right term to call?
Yes, you're exactly right, right. So in Singapore, there are two types of rights, two types of ownership. So especially in relation to real estate and land. So there's the legal rights, or
Which
the
is-
legal ownership,
Yes.
which
Only
is
applicable after.
21.
Yes.
And then there's beneficial interest, which is at the start.
Yes.
You can have a beneficial in a property no matter your age, but you can only have the legal rights to the property after 21 because you're only seen as an adult in Singapore at 21.
Alright, so it's something interesting. A lot of people don't know, but by default for all the transaction or almost most of the transaction in Singapore when we are dealing with properties, the legal right and the beneficial rights are given upon signing. But of course, there are certain special arrangement previously that whereby they have the beneficial rights given under conditions and
Yes.
etc. etc.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if we are talking about the trust that has been taken and approved already, how does, and we understand that there's a refund, how does the refund really work?
Okay, so I think in May, sometime early May, the government introduced new rules, new taxes on this trust property. So in Singapore now,
It's called the ACD, right?
no, it's called ABSD Trust.
ABSD trust.
Yes, so it's just ABSD on trust. So now if you transfer property in trust, it's upfront 35%, you have to pay within 14 days of the signing of the trust deed or the OTP or the exercise of the option. Yeah. So 35% upfront payable, but you can qualify for a refund provided you meet the conditions. And the conditions was what we discussed earlier. The beneficiary must be named, interest must vest at the start, no conditions, and then IRAS will approve the refund.
How many deals have your Serene come through since the initial, when was that? May?
May 9. Yeah.
9 of May. So how many cases have Anthony Laws received?
So far, we have about, for myself, about 10 over trust cases.
That's a lot. You must be a popular person in Anthony's Law.
But of course, we are still actually applying for the refund of the ABSD.
Yes.
Hoping that we can get the refund.
And
We have succeeded though, we have succeeded. So we have received a positive reply from IRAS confirming that our trust did qualify for the refund.
that's very nice. And I believe the one that's buying under trust, it gives more assurance for people who wanted to buy under trust that it is possible to get the remission.
Yes.
How long does the remission actually come since it is starting from the option date or exercise date?
So what we do to speed up the process, as a general guideline, IRAS has given us between 2 and 3 months for the money to be refunded. So
Yes.
how we speed this up is that once we get the client in to exercise the option, pay their stamp duty, and we will make the application for the refund immediately.
Alright.
So within 14 days.
So within 14 days from your exercise, you pay the stamp duty, and at the same time, you apply to IRAS for a remission. And how fast did IRAS come back? Within 2 to 3 months?
For them to approve the application, about 1 and 2 months, between 1 and 2 months.
Oh, that's pretty fast. So the approval comes in first before the money come back?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's a good news.
Yes.
Alright.
So we have gotten the approval, we're just waiting for the money. For our clients' money.
Nice, that's very nice. How does this trust things affect the new launch purchase? Because we all understand that for new launch purchase is a progressive payment, especially during the start, it takes 4 years to complete, and the payment comes in progressively.
Yes.
I'm a buyer, example, I'm going to buy for my kids, and I only have like, for me, real life example, I only have 100% of the money right now. I did not cater enough for the trust portion. Well, how does the timeline works on my favor for new launch purchase? For
Okay.
me?
So I think what the government is trying to do is to make sure that everybody who purchase property in trust, especially for new launches, is that they have enough money to actually complete the whole transaction. Because like what Rex has said, the transaction could take 3 to 4 years, right, progressively. So if you don't have that 100%, it's okay. You can still purchase that property in trust. You pay that 5% at the show flat. 8 weeks later, you pay the 15%. Okay, of course, before that, you also pay your 35% ABSD. Okay, then you do the refund with us immediately. We'll get you the refund within 2 and 3 months. Hopefully by then they have not called for the next progress payment, but if they have, please set aside some money for that.
Yeah, and of course, all risk is on your side. For whoever that's proceeding with the purchase, you need to have your due diligence to make sure you have the full 135%.
Yes, I think for property purchase in Singapore, it's very, very important to be prudent in your financial planning.
Yes, so it's just you have more flexibility if you're buying new launches, that whereby since it's on progressive, you can set aside your funds maybe in the stock market, but make sure the stock market comes back, the money comes back to you for the progressive payment at any point of time, so when the developers are calling for the money.
Absolutely.
I'd like to ask Serene, on top of trust, does Anthony Laws cover other conveyancing matters?
Yeah, we do a lot like decouplings, and as well as for financial planning, and for timeline wise, we are always the first point of contact to actually advise all the clients as well all the agents. So pretty much if you have any inquiries or clarifications, we are always on 24/7 to be there to help all of you.
Anytime?
Yes, anytime.
Any day?
Yeah, Monday to Sunday.
Oh, that's very nice. So where does Anthony's law firm located at?
We are actually located at Odeon Towers, so we are at just beside Huttons Hotel, so it's very convenient for most of the clients. So for HDB and for private cases, we are all just at one level. So some clients will be buying private property, selling their HDB, or either from a condo to a HDB. We are all very one-stop service for all of them. So it's very convenient for all the clients.
That's nice to hear that. On top of, we are talking about the resale market, HDB, private resale, and landeds. Do you do commercial or industrial as well?
Yeah, we do a lot of commercial and industrial property. So selling, purchasing, even for shop houses and HDB shop houses, we also do that as well.
Well, I think we have learned a lot from Timothy and Serene today, and thank you very much for sharing with us. I think it's an in-depth coverage on to this trust. 3 things that Timothy have covered that we should take note when our clients are buying under trust. So if you're unsure about all the issue related to legal issue, feel free to contact any of our RTD agents and we'll revert you to Anthony's Law. Alright, and that's it for today. Thank you, Timothy and Serene.
Thank you.
We will see you next week. Bye bye.